Removed by moderator. Ick what reviews you read, but ignore anything those reviewers say from now on. It's a masterpiece. Absolutely. It's not the classical retelling of Arthurian legend, but it's a horribly fun and interesting take on them. I go out on a limb and say it's foundational fantasy literature. Yes, T.H. White was using the story to couch certain critiques and commentary as political allegory, but that's a feature, not a bug. All great stories have something to say about the real world. Lord of the Rings was heavily influenced by Tolkien's time as a soldier. As long as the author does it in a clever way, I don't see how it could drag down a story. The reviews probably just don't agree with the stance the author was taking. It's fantastic, and it gives you a lot to think about. One of my favorite books. It's very well written, clever, and funny, justifiably seen as some of the best of Arthurian lit. It does, however, assume that you have a pre-social media attention span. That's not code for it being slow. I'm just explaining why some negative reviews might crop up on Book Talk or whatever. One of the greatest works of all time. It's a classic for a reason. It's almost like art should have something to say about the world, even when engaging in fantasy seemingly disconnected from what's going on around you. Yes, but go into it knowing what it is. It's very modern, considering it's an Arthurian legend. Because of that, I bounced off it pretty hard the first time I tried it, because I wanted something more authentic. But it's objectively a masterpiece of literature. It's been my favorite book since I was 9 years old. I fully recognize its shortcomings as a product of both its time and a really odd author, but I love it still. White's Lance is my favorite Lancelot. I read it at 11 and was really impressed, although I found it difficult. It's one of those books that I liked as a kid that held up as an adult. It's beautifully written, highly allegorical, full of lovely descriptions and interesting characters, and very weird by modern fantasy standards. The first book is lighter and more adventurous coming of age. The later books are darker and more political and social commentary. It's great. Also very funny. I recently reread it, and it definitely holds up, truly a great work of fantasy and of literature in general. It's phenomenal. Yes, it's uneven but, ultimately, deeply moving. Very different and far superior, imho, to the vast majority of modern genre fantasy though, so be warned. It's the best telling of Arthur's story. Does that really affect the work in a negative way? It affects the work in an extremely positive way. White's philosophical themes about the nature of power and how, or if, it can be wielded justly dovetail perfectly with Arthurian legend. One of the most wonderful things ever written. I read it myself very recently and loved it. I personally didn't think it affected the story in a negative way. If anything, I felt the author's seeming increasing cynicism, and I might even say despair with the world, adds to the work hugely. I don't have to agree with him on a lot of stuffs to buy into what the story is trying to convey, and I myself considered the fact that I could really see the creator through the words and characters to be a major reason why I love the books. Oh my god, I loved this book so much. Cannot RACC it highly enough. It's really genuinely funny, despite the social crit. OMG, can't he just pull swords from stones and get the armor and the round table and whatnot? Also Merlin, some reviewer, probably. It's incredible. I read it when I was in high school, and it was the second book I was forced to read that I loved. Kinda kick-started me reading for fun. There are definitely some slower portions that Eve heard people felt were somewhat of a chore. My wife set it down 3/4 through and hasn't got back to it. She doesn't want to DNF it. She just got stuck on a particular slow beat. It's been decades since I read it, but I enjoyed it. If you're the sort of person that's going to end up reading a bunch of King Arthur stuff, I definitely have. It feels pretty much required just for the sake of comparison. One of my favorite children's books.